Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you guys my final 2021 first-round NFL mock draft with trades. We've waited a while for this day, and the first round kicks off tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to see my reactions to the first round as it's happening, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and watch the live stream at 8 all the way till the nighttime. Maybe I'll be drinking, maybe I won't, but we will be having a great time tonight, and I know you will if you go ahead and stay tuned. I hope you have a great time in this video as well, but without giving too much fluff, let's get into it. Actually, a little bit more fluff. Let me know down below in the comments who you want your team to pick with the first pick, or the first round pick in the NFL draft. Now, obviously, if you are a fan of the Rams or the Seattle Seahawks who do not have a first round pick, or the Houston Texans, let me know down below who you want with your first pick in the draft. I would love to read that. We can have a nice discourse down below in the comments. So let's get into it. At number 1, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and at this point, this pick has been etched in stone for years that whoever had the number 1 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft was going to select touchdown Jesus, quarterback Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. This guy checks all the boxes of what you want for a pro-style NFL quarterback that's going to be able to get it done at the next level, as well as having some rushing ability. Now, I'm not saying that this guy is the second coming of Lamar Jackson, but he can certainly maneuver out of the pocket and go ahead and acquire some extra yards. So I think that Trevor Lawrence is the pick here, as does Vegas, so we're not going to harp on this one too much. At number 2, it's a similar scenario. The Jets had the kind of season that would have gotten Trevor Lawrence, except they accidentally won a game. Shout out to Adam Gase. So now they get the second place prize, and they believe the second best quarterback in this draft class is quarterback out of BYU, Zach Wilson. In my opinion, that is also the second best quarterback going in the 2021 NFL draft, and the Jets should be very happy with Zach Wilson. Obviously, there's the narrative that he never played anyone because he was at BYU, that he didn't really have anything over just one great year. I would argue he has had kind of 2 good years in college. One down one his sophomore year, but he really excelled in his third year last season in 2020 at BYU. But I think Zach Wilson is the pick here, and there's kind of no doubting that with what the Vegas odds are looking at right now for Zach Wilson to the New York Football Jets. At number 3, we have the San Francisco 49ers. While everyone in the world is trying to convince Kyle Shanahan not to pick quarterback Mac Jones out of Alabama, they're going up and walking up to him on the street, and he even talked about it in an interview, in a press conference, saying, I've heard people tell me not to draft Mac Jones. All these people, it seems like all the scouts around him are telling him, do not draft Mac Jones, select quarterback Trey Lance. It doesn't seem like they're in at all on Justin Fields. They're saying it's 50-50, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. In my opinion, I think Kyle Shanahan, when he traded all those picks, he wanted his guy, and that's the chubby man, Mac Jones, Mr. Dad Bod, Mac Daddy Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. That's exactly who they wanted when they went ahead and moved up for this pick. Do I believe that's the right pick? No, but it's what Kyle Shanahan believes is the best in this mock draft. I'm trying to predict exactly what's going to happen tonight. This is no longer one of those where I'm going through scenarios. In the past, I was kind of trying to explore some different scenarios. Now, I'm just trying to tell you guys exactly what I feel like is going to happen, and I think that they end up drafting Mac Jones. If they don't, this might have been the greatest fucking smokescreen of all time in NFL draft history. At number 4, we have the Atlanta Falcons. A couple months ago, I would have told you that this was a certified slam dunk to draft Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State University. I thought that he would sit 1 or 2 years behind Matt Ryan. They'd kick Matt Ryan directly to the curb, and they would fire Trey Lance rock fucking hard Viagra style into the lineup, and he was going to be the next big quarterback pro in the NFL. But that does not appear to be what's going to happen, and it seems like they have their eyes set on offensive weapon Kyle Pitts out of Florida. It seems like that's exactly who they want. It seems like Julio may end up getting traded, maybe get cut, because they paid him way too much money. But if Julio's gone, Kyle Pitts definitely helps somewhat fill that role. Obviously, Kyle Pitts is not a wide receiver, but he kind of is because of how crazy the man is. People are comparing him to Calvin Johnson. I've never heard someone say that a tight end is like Calvin Megatron Johnson. At number 5, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. While for months I was kind of over here banging the drum, please, if you're the Bengals, draft Penei Sewell, offensive tackle out of Oregon. It does not appear that that is what is going to be happening. It appears that the Cincinnati Bengals want one man, and his name is not John Cena. It's Ja'Marr Chase. Both JCs, though, interesting enough, wide receiver out of LSU, opts out in 2020, just like Penei Sewell did, and it does not matter at all. This guy was setting records in the SEC. Him and Joe Burrow were double tapping defenses like Johnny Sins would. It was unbelievable. Ja'Marr Chase is going to be the pick, in my opinion, to the Cincinnati Bengals. What I hope happens is that they draft Sewell and my Dolphins can get Ja'Marr Chase. But honestly, I don't think that's what ends up happening. Ja'Marr Chase is now a Cincinnati Bengal. At number 6, we have my Miami Dolphins, and there's a lot of noise. A whole lot of noise about how the Dolphins love Alabama wide receivers. They love both of them. They love Jaylen Waddle, and they also love Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper. Now, I'm seeing that maybe they might pick Devontae Smith or Jaylen Waddle at this pick. To me, if I want Devontae Smith and I'm the Dolphins, we better trade back. Or Jaylen Waddle. We have to move back slightly. We just have to. I do not want to take one of them there or here. And I believe if we are here and Ja'Marr Chase goes in front of us, we draft offensive tackle Penei Sewell out of Oregon. We have a very young offensive line. Why not add another young piece to it? Flowers got traded a couple of days ago. It makes a whole lot of sense if we draft Sewell here if he is available. At number 7, we have the Detroit Lions. Now, very interesting is that the Lions could definitely pick one of the 2 quarterbacks still available here in Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I don't think they will. I think they would look to either trade this pick right here over picking a quarterback, or they're going to end up picking a wide receiver at this pick. Now, things are looking a little different. The Denver Broncos end up bringing Teddy Roosevelt in from the Carolina Panthers, who picked 1 pick before them, for a 6th round pick. So it's Horsecock, Drew Lock, and Teddy Two Gloves. Now, there's also a report that the New England Patriots, are looking to go ahead and trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's getting serious. It's looking like that may end up happening. Last night was the thought. Maybe now it's going to happen tomorrow. So if that ends up happening, the Patriots are definitely not going to be drafting a quarterback, and it's going to take this draft and throw it directly out the window. But that's just the fun of the draft. So, we're sitting here at 7, and I think that a team is going to go ahead and call up the cellular device of the Detroit Lions. They are going to get so many texts. It's like that when you're a chick in college, you're going to get all those you up texts from a bunch of horny dudes. That's exactly what's going to happen with a couple of these teams calling the Lions. Now, I do not believe that the Chicago Bears would trade inside the division to give them their franchise quarterback, but if any team was stupid enough to do that, it would be Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears, but I don't think that ends up happening, and I think ultimately we see a fall of these quarterbacks, and I think that the Lions, if the Patriots don't end up trading up, they just end up here drafting wide receiver Jaylen Waddle out of Alabama. I want them to pick Devontae Smith, but it seems like a lot of these teams are very much worried about the weight of Devontae Smith and are severely overthinking the talent, so we're going to go ahead and draft Jaylen Waddle here at number 7 to the Detroit Lions. At number 8, we have the Carolina Panthers, who are talking heavily about trading back in the first round of the draft, that maybe they want to move back and acquire some draft capital. So maybe here, since he fell, we see the Chicago Bears go ahead and call the Carolina Panthers on the phone. Now, again, I'm trying to predict what's going to happen, and I feel like there's going to be at least one trade in the top 10, and if the Lions don't make it, I think the Carolina Panthers would be very happy in moving back to go ahead and try to acquire some capital, as well as the fact that maybe the Panthers could also draft the quarterback, because obviously you just traded a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick to get Sam Darnold. That is not mortgaging your future for a quarterback. So they could obviously draft whoever is here, but I do think that the Bears are going to go ahead and want to get their guy, and I think the Panthers are willing to go ahead and do it here at this spot at pick numero 8. So the Bears are going to have to give up their 20th pick, their 52nd pick, probably going to have to give up a 2022 first, maybe even a 2022 second. Again, for the sakes of the mock, I don't want to go ahead here and make it super egregious to where they wouldn't accept it. Now, saying that's very unlikely. I'm thinking that's exactly what you would have to pay in order to move up here. I think it would cost multiple first-round picks, but to get the draft to go ahead and move it through, that's exactly what we're going to do here. Send 2 seconds and a first, but again, I think it would cost more in real life, but for the sake of making the video move faster, we're going to have to do this. So the Bears are here. They're at number 8. They moved all the way up, and the most Bears thing to do would be to select a guy that is kind of unknown. Now, I made a video the other day about how Trey Lance is the most interesting, I believe is the word I used, exciting maybe, prospect in the draft because he's so raw. Went to a college where he's not playing up against the greatest talent, but he threw for 26 or 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and rushed for 1,100 rushing yards in 2019. This guy is the real deal, but if I'm the Bears and I traded all this, I want to go ahead and get the guy that I believe will be much safer, and that is quarterback Justin Fields of the Ohio State University. At number 9, we have the Denver Broncos, and while the Broncos went ahead and made that move to get Teddy Bridgewater, if you're them, and Trey Lance is sitting here, you 100% pick him. You 100% pick him right here, unless they are sold in on just being mediocre. If you're hunting for upside, you draft Trey Lance, you somehow trade Horsecock Drew Lock to some other organization, and Trey Lance is your guy. Now, again, Broncos fans, don't be pissed. Oh, I don't want Trey Lance. I think we're fine with the quarterback competition of Bridgewater and Lock. That's entirely possible, but I think we could also see them end up drafting a quarterback. At number 10, we are going to have the first defensive player of the draft drafted to the Dallas Cowboys with Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama. This one also seems like a lock. If Surtain is there, that is who the Cowboys have their eyes on, at least based on the reports that I have seen. At number 11, we have the New York Football Giants, and the Giants here are a humongous wild card. Humongous wild card. I could see the Giants drafting Devontae Smith here, having Devontae Smith, Kenny Golladay, and Darius Slayton, and could look to move maybe Darius Slayton or Sterling Shepard off of the team. Now, that is also one option. Another option is drafting blue chip prospect, according to many, Micah Parsons, a very safe pick, did a lot at Penn State. Or they could go ahead and get a little bit spicy and add to the edge rushing core in New York, maybe go with Kwitty Paye or Jalen Phillips. Rashawn Slater is also falling, so teams could be calling up for that. Some teams might be calling, though, up for Devontae Smith, which are reports that maybe the Cardinals end up looking to move up, but that's not what's going to happen here. We end up seeing Rashawn Slater fall, and the New York Football Giants are going to play it a little bit safe here and end up going with linebacker Micah Parsons out of Penn State. At number 12, we have the Philadelphia Eagles here, and they want a wide receiver. They're going to do it again. That front office could not evaluate a wide receiver if you fucking pay them, and they get paid zillions of dollars to do it. But this time, I think they actually finally make the right move after failing with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, with Jalen Reagor being somewhat dick cheese last season. Now, again, the jury is not out on him. He could be good. With J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, I think the jury is kind of out, but Devontae Smith is the pick here at 12 to the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 13, we see the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Chargers are absolutely blowing a fat load onto their monitors right now. Justin Herbert has ejaculated out of his eyes. Now there's reports, oh, the Chargers want Sewell. Okay. They're not going to trade up for him. And then they end up getting very happy with Rashawn Slater at pick number 13. At number 14, we have the Vikings, who also would have wanted Rashawn Slater. But I think here they are going to, instead of going interior offensive line, while I like them to draft Elijah Vera Tucker, I think that they end up drafting more on this defense. They draft the first edge rusher off the board. Could be Kwitty Paye, could be Jalen Phillips. I think this is going to be a very hard call as who the first edge rusher is going to be off the board, because I think it could be Paye or Phillips. Now, Ojulari, in my opinion, has a more outside chance of being it. He could, but I think a lot of people are really talking up Jalen Phillips here out of Miami, who really, really flourished last season after Gregory Rousseau ended up opting out. Jalen Phillips was a guy who Seemed like his career was done, comes to Miami and really balls out, was very highly touted out of high school. I think he's going to fit in great there with the Minnesota Vikings. At number 15, we have the New England Patriots. They don't end up getting the quarterback they want. They don't end up getting the best linebacker in Micah Parsons. And if I am the Patriots, I am looking to move out of this pick and going ahead and trading back with a different team. Now, there's a lot of reports, a whole lot of noise that the Saints might be looking to move up, but why would they move up? Who are they looking for? Are they looking for quarterback? Because there's none here. Or are they looking to go ahead and draft like J.C. Horn or something? I don't know. So I'm not going to do it. I think the Patriots would look to trade back, but I don't really see anyone who's looking to really nose dive their way up the draft board. So we're going to go ahead and make this pick for the New England Patriots. I know Patriots fans might not love this, but Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is my linebacker 2 in the draft. This guy hits as hard as it gets out of Notre Dame. I believe he's the pick here. At number 16, we have the Arizona Cardinals. While they may have looked up to draft a wide receiver, I don't think they do it here since they weren't able to move up, and I think they end up selecting J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina. Go Cox. At number 17, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And while the Raiders kind of need offensive tackle, and I would love to see them get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah because that is a guy that the Raiders would like. Just is. The Raiders also seem like the kind of team who would draft Christian Barmore, interior defensive lineman out of Alabama, because this guy is a menace to the offensive line. But I also think that the Las Vegas Raiders and John Gruden are the kind of crazy motherfuckers that would end up drafting Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky, this high. Haven't seen too much out of him, only played a couple of games, but people seem to believe that he is going to go very high, potentially a first-round pick. And I think if any team would pull the trigger, it would be the Raiders. But I think they ultimately go with Christian Barmore, interior defensive lineman out of Alabama. At number 18, we have the Miami Dolphins. We end up getting an offensive tackle in Penei Sewell at pick numero 6 earlier on here. So we're up on the board. And while I want us to draft a wide receiver, I think it is entirely a waste to pick Rashod Bateman here. I'd rather just wait until the second round and fire on one of these guys and hope they end up paying off. While I don't love Devontae Parker, I think that him, Fuller, Gesicki, and a second-round wide receiver will be able to get it done. I don't think that, while I want Najee Harris, I do not believe that the Miami Dolphins actually end up doing that, and I really do think that they will end up drafting edge rusher here at number 18. Obviously, with the falling of Elijah Vera Tucker, I barely knew her. I think they could draft him here at 18, but ultimately, I think they go with my boy, Kwitty. Yeah, we paid out of Michigan. At number 19, we have the Washington Football Organization, and they are going to go ahead here and draft and play it safe with Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. I also would like them to go defense potentially and draft Jamin Davis, but I do not believe they end up doing it. I think they want to go ahead and protect Ryan Fitzpatrick and whoever will be there for the future of the team. At number 20, we have the Carolina Panthers, who moved back. Obviously, they would probably get multiple firsts for that move, but again, in the video, we only traded them one just to go ahead and get things a move in here. And I think that if they fall back to 20 here, they do need defense. I think they're the kind of team that would be very happy with selecting Caleb Farley. Now, I am genuinely 50-50 at who goes higher, Caleb Farley or Gregory Newsome, because Newsome, obviously, there is no risk in taking him. No risk. Well, there's obviously risk in taking everyone because they could end up sucking ass in the NFL, but there's no injury risk with Farley coming off the back surgery, but I still think a team is willing to draft him potentially inside the top 20, so we're going with Caleb Farley here at number 20. At 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts, and I also think we could potentially see a run at corner here, but I also think they could go with offensive tackle Tevin Leroy Jenkins at this pick out of Oklahoma State. At number 22, we have the Tennessee Titans. And I think here's where we definitely see a corner. While I'd love to see them draft Elijah Moore, I think they're very happy drafting Gregory Newsome out of Northwestern, who many are calling the sleeper corner of the 2021 NFL draft. At number 23, we have the New York Football Jets. And I think that if Azeez Ojulari is available, this is where they end up looking inside of the first round. Again, they're the Jets, so they could just draft a running back. But I think the next team ends up doing that. And I think that the Jets go ahead and snag Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher, out of Georgia. At number 24, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're going to go ahead here and select Najee Harris. It seems like this is a penciled-in pick at this point, that he is going to end up going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been talking about it for a couple of weeks at this point, and I'm just going to go ahead and buy into that narrative. At number 25, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Vera Tucker is still here, but they don't necessarily need interior offensive linemen. I don't think they really need a wide receiver either, so I think they end up going ahead here and drafting an offensive tackle, whoever they have ranked higher in Leatherwood or Samuel Cosmi. At number 26, we have the Cleveland Browns, who recently brought in Jadeveon Clowney. Is that enough to not draft another defensive piece? Hell to the nah. Barmore's already gone, so I think they end up looking elsewhere on defense, likely with an edge rusher. Now, obviously, the premier edge rushers are kind of gone, but I do think that Joe Tryon is going to end up being a first-round pick. At number 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that the Baltimore Ravens here are going to end up selecting because Elijah Vera Tucker could very well be moved outside of being an interior offensive lineman, and I don't see any way that he falls out of the first round. And I think that they could end up drafting an offensive tackle after losing Orlando Brown. I think that Elijah Vera Tucker can move out and fit that spot. At number 28, we have the New Orleans Saints, and I think that they want to go ahead and draft a wide receiver. I don't think all these guys fall out of the first round. I think Rashod Bateman will be the third highest or fourth highest wide receiver pick here, so I think he goes to the New Orleans Saints. At number 29, we might end up seeing a run at wide receiver, and I think they end up drafting. Now, I want them to draft a wide receiver, so they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're going to draft like Alex Leatherwood or something, right? Or they're going to draft a cornerback, entirely possible as well. I think Asante Samuel is going to end up being a first-round pick, but I do think Eric Stokes is probably the safer play here, as they definitely need some corners on the Green Bay Packers. At number 30, we have the no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And while I want them to pick a running back, I genuinely believe here that cornerback is going to be the pick, and that Asante Samuel Jr. will be a first-round selection. Shout out to his father, Asante Samuel Sr. At number 31, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who again got this second pick after moving on from Orlando Brown. They end up going wide receiver. They desperately need one, and they get Elijah Moore, wide receiver, out of Ole Miss. And finally, the final pick of the first round, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are going to elect to draft someone on that defense. There's going to be multiple people leaving. The wet dream would have been Vera Tucker falling all this far, but I don't think he will end up actually doing that. And we are going to go ahead here and say that they end up drafting, I believe, Jason Owe, edge rusher out of Penn State. But it would not surprise me if they drafted Jamin Davis, even though they don't necessarily need him. There's a couple of guys that fell out of the first round. I think Morig could end up being a first round, but he might just be snubbed a little bit here. So we're going to end up going with the edge rusher that I previously spoke about in Jason Away out of Penn State. So let me know down below what you guys thought about this mock draft. Do you love it? Do you hate it? It's okay if you hate it. Don't hate me if I didn't draft the guy that your team wants, because at the end of the day, the only person you can get mad at is your actual team when they don't draft who you want tonight. 8 o'clock. Again, make sure you guys stop by the live stream if you want to have a fun time. Videos will be posted for every single pick inside of the first round tomorrow. So if you end up missing the live stream, you will not be missing that. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you guys all. As always, stay safe. Goodbye.